Welcome to the South Jersey Soccer Cast, where we discuss the Union, MLS, the U.S. national teams, and more.
I am Matt.
And I'm his father, Jim, and we're just a couple of know-nothing fans. Some days I think we know less than nothing. But anyway, MLS's opening weekend is in the books.
Yeah.
For as much as they could get done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had some snow in Los Angeles or something.
I thought it was rain.
Might have been.
Yeah.
It was definitely horrendous weather in LA, threatening to be probably worse. So they postponed the game to July 4th weekend, I believe.
July 4th.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh, okay. Even
that
better.
Day. Yeah. I'll try to go in the Rose Bowl on the 4th of July. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The CONCACAF Champions League is starting up
Tuesday.
Jim Curtin got himself some quotable press conferences, at least one.
Seems
couple
to be a fairly common occurrence so far
this year. Yep. And 2 games this week for the Union.
Yes, because the Champions League.
Yes. So the news is basically the only thing I have is about Jim Curtin and his quotes. If you've watched his after the match press conference from last Saturday, he basically expressed how irritated he and the team were about the anonymous quote that said the Union just weren't very good. They just beat people up. And I read the quote that Jim Curtin referenced, and the feeling I got from it was it's an executive in the East, because this was a quote from the Atlantic, the anonymous quotes, their anonymous survey from the Athletic, and it really felt like sour grapes. Some executive in the East spent a lot of money for some big, high-profile players and got beat up by the Union.
And didn't get the production they wanted.
Didn't get the production they paid for.
Yeah.
And looked at the Union and their small payroll relative to the rest of the league for last year, and just a lot really felt like sour grapes more than that. But it was kind of insulting saying that they weren't very good when really the quality is there.
And I think they've proven that it's there. I mean,
yeah.
And it's not even like they're scraping like 1-0 goofball wins, right?
Right.
Where they just defend constantly and then just send it to a big man up top and he goes and scores the one goal of the game. They didn't do that.
No.
They had 4 games where they won by 6 goals or more last season alone. So
yeah. Let's see. Who won Defender of the Year?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that does help. Glasness does. And same with Blake winning goalkeeper.
And Blake winning goalkeeper of the year, sure. But there's an argument to be made that maybe Glasness wasn't the best defender on the Union.
I think that's a fair argument. And
I mean,
also you gotta look at Gazdag finishing second in Golden Boot race.
Yes. And it was almost criminal that the press did not cover him as a potential MVP candidate.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Especially at the end.
Yeah.
It was really the press were pushing for either Mukhtar or Drusi. Not saying Mukhtar didn't deserve it.
No.
Gazdag deserved to be in that conversation.
It was that's what I was trying to say. It was almost criminal that he wasn't in the conversation in the press. He might have been in the conversation in the people that were actually doing the voting, but not in the press, which was a shame.
Yeah.
So basically he said anonymous quotes were for cowards, and apparently they used that as bulletin board material.
Yes.
And got everybody fired up, and the sentiment was echoed by Ali Bedoya.
Yeah, Alejandro.
Alejandro
Bedoya, yes.
Where he basically repeated the quote that anonymous quotes are cowardly.
Yeah, and he wanted to know who it was.
Yes, which they're never going to find out.
Yeah. But Jim Curtin also said that there are some executives in the league where that quote is actually kind of a compliment.
Yes,
So
he did. He did say that. Like I said, it felt sour grapes to me.
yeah, it felt like that executive had one way of playing. Like they call it the beautiful game and they want possession, tiki taka, beautiful passing, and the Union just aren't that. And because the Union don't play that way, they're worse. They're a
Yes,
worse team because.
they're a worse team because of it, but they do have talent.
Absolutely.
They don't have the big splashy big name from Europe. You know,
I mean, Gazdag, Wagner,
right?
not really. Not there. And
And
they don't even have a big South American name. I mean, Carranza and Martinez are the closest, but it's not Josef
yeah,
Martinez of now Miami.
yes. So I felt like they didn't spend for a big name. They beat people up. They play what is, I guess, affectionately known as energy drink soccer now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and do it probably better than anybody else in the league.
Well, yes. Proven by uh top of the East, MLS Cup final.
Yeah, I mean they're fit. I mean their starting 11 played ridiculous numbers of minutes.
Yeah. Some every minute.
Yes. So yeah, that quote is the quote by that anonymous executive was a little misfounded. A little missed the mark a little.
Yeah.
I think maybe Jim Curtin maybe blew it out of the proportion a little bit, but it worked. It got his team. It got the team motivated.
Absolutely. It
It,
did what it needed to do.
and it stirred up the press a lot.
And also some conspiracy theorists, and the conspiracy theorist in me believes it was actually Ernst Tanner saying that to fire up his team because he knew
That
it would be used.
that would be funny.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. But Tanner's also not the type of guy to hide behind anonymous quotes.
No, he wouldn't be.
He has very publicly criticized some teams.
Got himself in trouble for it too.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised he did not weigh in on this. A little bit, not a lot. I mean,
Yeah, he probably knew that if he were to, he'd get fined again.
yeah, we don't talk about cheating
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah, and then the other thing was basically talking about letting players go when their time comes. He says the union does not hold them back to advance their careers.
Yeah. And if they want to sign for somewhere else, the union won't stop them.
Right. Especially the young kids coming out of the academy.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty much shade thrown at a specific team.
Yes. So I am not totally versed with everything that had been going on for that until you filled me in.
Well, I'm still no expert in it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I didn't even know it had happened.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't paying it that much attention.
Well,
and it's sad. Like if you're blocking kids from
so basically the report is
starting their careers.
Yeah. The report is that Minnesota United stopped having an academy for a few years. During that time, the kids wanted to go sign for other teams, mainly MLS teams, because they're already in that MLS system. Might as well stay, just transfer to a new city. But Minnesota wanted ridiculous amounts of money for them.
And they didn't even have an academy to try and develop them.
Yeah, to try and play.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but it's, as far as I can tell, no longer the case.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a shame when you're blocking young kids from starting their career. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, but it could also, that quote could also be used to point out the fact that, yeah, they let Burke go for nothing, but he wanted to, and the union weren't going to stop him.
That's true, because they could have.
Yeah. They
They
could
could
have
have.
picked up his option and told him to stay.
Yeah. And other teams. Who was it last year? Their third center back last year.
Stuart Finlay.
Yes, they let him go,
Yes.
knowing that they were coming up on all these games and he would get a lot more playing time this year.
Yeah.
But they were happy to let him go somewhere where he will. The thought was he would be a starter,
And
or
he
at
would
least
actually get game time,
get a lot more game time.
as opposed to the one occasional game a season he pretty much got.
Yeah. I think you're probably also looking at, Matt Freese.
Yeah.
Because realistically, your Andre Blake's backup, you're not playing unless he hurts himself again.
Yeah. Or gets suspended for some reason, or is playing for Jamaica.
Yeah.
Something.
So, yes, go play.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
They could also be looking at the current members of the team, because I know Tanner said that he had to fend off offers for Carranza this past winter. That could mean that Carranza just wants to stay.
Yes. Could mean that. It could also mean that, they've negotiated with Carranza that, give us a couple years, let's win some trophies, and then you can go.
Yeah. Or the offer just wasn't enough for them.
Yeah, it could be.
Who knows? But the point is, Curtin said that they don't keep players against their own will.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And also, I guess a more prominent figure in the current players is Wagner. With all the interest he's had, maybe he wants to stay in Philly.
Maybe. Although, hasn't he said in public that he wants to go back to Europe?
He said that he wants to go back eventually. Maybe he just never felt it was the right time yet.
Yeah. Maybe he wants the trophies too.
Yeah.
And this is a way to get them.
Knowing how close he's gotten. Yeah. Can imagine.
Yeah. The only other big news, the only other thing I have here in the news is the Union Insider show on PHL 17. We've watched both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were all right. It's nice that they're still using the studio and still have the people around and are talking about games.
Coverage on a local TV station, yeah.
Yeah, keep the Union out there. The Inquirer, for as Eagles heavy as the Inquirer sports page is, they spend enough time on talking about the Union. I mean, to the point where you can get a Eagles full sports section in the middle of baseball season with the Phillies leading the National League or something.
Wow.
It's a bit crazy sometimes, the amount of attention the Eagles get versus the other teams. So it's good to see that there's regular stuff coming. Mm-hmm. In the newspaper. Yes, you may think the newspapers are dying, but they have online presence too.
And things like The Athletic are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, what they report on and how much coverage they give, yeah.
Yeah. The Union seems to be putting the highlights up on their YouTube channel.
Yes.
It's coming days later instead of the next day like it used to.
Or sometimes even later that night.
Yeah. Sometimes it was hours.
Yeah.
Half hour later. They seem to come up pretty quick on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Now they seem to be delayed by a couple of days, which is okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
They're also posting Union Insider.
That's cool.
So YouTube is not dead. The YouTube channels are not locked out because of Apple.
Yeah. There's still content there.
Yeah. It's just delayed, which I get. Apple's paying a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, have some kind of exclusivity rights, but not actual exclusivity, I guess.
Right, because there's still the national games that will show up on the linear cable TV.
Yeah, and all that content that is on the season pass, you just get a few days later.
Yeah, Well, you don't get the whole game.
No, but you do get the highlights.
Yeah. And it's nice that they're putting games out in front of the paywall still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy about that. The Union game later on is in front of the paywall this week, I think. Next week it is not.
Okay.
So, if you're still in doubt about the Apple Season Pass stuff, go and watch the stuff in front of the paywall. MLS 360 is now officially in front of the paywall. I'm not sure if that was always the plan or not, but
Now it officially is. Anyway.
it officially is. So you'll be able to watch that. So that'll be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want to review the Apple TV broadcasters yet. Let them have time to gel.
Mm-hmm. And find out what their pairings actually are.
Yeah. And see a few of them.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I think, I'm not happy with the way it works. Like it feels clunky. Things are hard to find. I'm going to be exploring some options to give them feedback. We'll just say that.
Well, I think especially at this stage, as early as it is, feedback is very important.
Yeah.
Let them know what they're doing right. Let them know what they're doing wrong, how they can improve, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I just have to figure out how to get it into the system.
Yeah.
I'll talk to my buddy who works for Apple. He does watch stuff, so it's not his thing, but
not even close.
He might be able to find out. He might know.
Yeah.
He might be able to find out how the best way to get that stuff in there. Anyway, that's all I got for the news. You want to talk about the match on Saturday? The home opener? Or do you have more news?
No, I think we're done for the news. All I can see was just those two things, just the quotes and Union Insider, what you wanted to say about the season pass. So,
Yeah.
Sure, we'll move on to the home opener.
All right. So what did you think of the home opener overall?
Well,
let's start with the score.
Okay.
Score. The Union won 4-1.
Yes. At home.
At home. In front of a very friendly crowd.
Yes. Is a very good score in hindsight, They had 2 penalties, converted them both by Gazdag. Then Carranza also had a brace, 2 open play goals that were very well done.
Yes.
Especially by him. So, yeah, I think the first half was very shaky. They didn't start right. No. They were always behind. They were just not clicking, defensively shaky. They conceded first on a Jacob Glesnes own goal and kind of trailed.
I was going to say, that means the only players on the score sheet were Union players.
Yes.
Even though the score was 4-1, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the opening 15, 20 minutes was really bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, this is not going well.
Yeah, and then they conceded, seemed to step it up, but still kept trailing till the very end of the first half.
Yeah.
Went into halftime 1-1 because Gazdag converted the first of his penalties.
And came out strong in the second half.
Very strong. Very strong, yeah.
Yeah. I got the Union was called for offsides 9 times, committed 12 fouls, mostly in that section when they were struggling.
Yeah, again, it was always just pass was a little too late, a little too far, a little just not hit hard enough. It just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was unfortunate. And they corrected it in the second half and scored 3 more goals. Got 4-1
that's great.
Win.
Yeah, it was a very... Curtin probably thinks it's a very Union-like win. They just kept in there, never let Columbus get anything going.
Yeah.
Sustainably.
Yeah.
Because even when they were struggling the Crew didn't have much scoring opportunities.
No, and then for the rest of the game, they really didn't either.
Yeah. Let's see. What else did I write down? Jack Elliott made a mistake
Yes.
in defense.
Both
Trying
him
to-
and Glesnes did.
Yeah. But Elliott's led to Leon Flock having to take a yellow card for the team.
Yeah. Stop that opportunity.
Stop the opportunity. Yeah. Against a better team, that's deadly.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I'm not entirely sure there's going to be that many better teams than Columbus right now.
Maybe not.
Because, I mean, they weren't that bad of a team with Caleb Porter.
No.
And now they got Wilfred Nancy, who was runner up in Coach of the Year by the thinnest of margins.
Yeah.
So,
one thing that is bad about soccer is sometimes when they show replays, you miss things.
yeah.
And that happened a couple times this week in the Apple broadcast.
Yeah.
Which was a shame. But that has happened before, happened during the World Cup. It just
It's
happens.
going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
She's just a fact of life.
Yep. I think Jim Curtin probably subbed out some of his players a little late. A little later than I would have liked, knowing what kind of season they're facing.
And especially Bedoya.
Yeah. So that was the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Then the really bad stuff was Chucho Hernandez and his dive.
Yes.
They got a yellow card for. I just don't want to see that. I don't care which team you play for. I don't want to see that.
Not
Just
the right
don't
thing
dive.
to do.
It's not the NBA.
No.
And got him a yellow card for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Union were trailing for 20 minutes.
Yes. But I've been thinking about that, and I think one of the worst things you can do is score first on the Union.
Especially early.
Yes. If you're going to beat the Union, score first and score late.
Yeah. Or figure out a way to score a lot.
Yeah, which is going to be really hard against this defense.
Yes.
Because if the Union are scoring 3 or 4, you got to score 4 or 5.
Right.
And that's very hard to do.
That's going to be very hard. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah, a lot of the commentary said Columbus made the mistake of scoring.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Because that just awoke something in the Union, and they kind of just never looked back.
Right. And the fact that they ran the score up to 4 when they didn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially that last Carranza goal. Didn't need to happen.
No, but that was a highlight reel.
Of course. It was beautiful.
A highlight reel goal.
Man, I mean, Torres deserves more minutes for that.
Yeah. So, I could understand that.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to push because it was Wagner to Gazdag to Torres.
Yeah.
Before it got to Carranza.
Who
And it was just a
hit it
really
first
nice
time.
sequence.
Yeah. It was well done.
Yeah. It was just a really nice sequence. They probably didn't have to push quite so hard, but
No.
man, once the pass to Carranza was initiated, you gotta at least try.
Like once Torres did the first spin, you have to try.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
That's true. You had to try. At that point, you're committed.
Yeah. At that point, Torres deserves the assist.
Yeah. No, I think that was, and it was good. It was really nice.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a lot of good forward play,
Mhm.
for a while.
Yes. Not so much the first half.
Not so much
Everyone
the
was
first
just offside.
Yeah. But that could be just rust that they've now
Yeah.
knocked off and are
And-
ready to go.
Just getting up to game time speed.
Yeah. So hopefully that will continue.
Yeah.
I thought the game was good overall. I was
Me too.
happy with the result for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, the first half was kind of painful.
Yeah. Which again, I hope is just rust.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit too much believe in the hype in themselves.
I don't think so. Because the Union never really seemed to start the season strong. Like especially in that season opener.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the season opener. It's just what it is. Next, the game tonight.
Yes.
That'll show.
All right. Yeah, first road game down in Miami.
Yeah.
So I happen to like the Miami jerseys with the collar. They're kind of cool.
I mean, I just like Miami's color scheme. I think black and pink is very cool.
It's very Miami for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It like works for the city.
Yeah.
The fact that they basically have collared shirts, collared jerseys is nice. It definitely gives you that feel, that Miami feel.
Yes.
Anyway, but that they've had that color scheme in those shirts for a while. So first road game, but they also have a game on Tuesday. So I think,
Which is their second road game.
which is their second road game. I think they're going to need to rotate for this game. They're going to need to rotate some players in. Will the starting 11 from last Saturday be the starting 11 this week? I don't know. I hope
so.
not.
I believe it will be.
I believe it will be too, but I would have liked to see one of the starters get some rest.
Yeah. It's just
But it's also just the second game, so maybe you don't.
yeah. And maybe you sub some people out earlier.
And some people out that normally you don't.
Yes.
Yeah. It's looking like Leo Campana is still hurt, from what I understand, from what I've seen.
Yeah. He was
Those reports?
week to week.
Yeah.
Last time I saw.
That seems pretty bad. Like that seems like it's going to be several weeks.
Yeah. At least 2, I would say.
Yeah. That leaves a big hole for them.
It does.
So,
But they got Joseph Martinez.
yes. Who's
So-
probably happy now.
Happier. Now that
Happier.
he's out of Atlanta.
Not fighting with the front office. It's hard to have get to a bad relationship that fast. So, no, it's going to be hard. I didn't think Miami looked all that great last week from the highlight reel.
No.
They
But-
looked rusty as well.
Yeah, Montreal looked worse.
Montreal did look worse. They looked
So-
really bad.
Mm.
So, I don't know what to think about this.
Nor do I. I hope Union are going to win. I hope they win every game. But
Yes.
starting off with another win will be really good.
That would be really good. I think it's going to
Then-
be a tough game. It's a road game in the MLS. I mean, by definition, that's a hard game.
Yes. And
don't-
I don't want them looking ahead to Tuesday because they still have to play tonight.
Yeah,
I don't want them already mentally in El Salvador.
right. And the report I heard was they flew to Miami. They're there already, obviously. And they will be flying to El Salvador directly from Miami.
Yes.
Before
And then
coming home.
flying back to Philly,
Right.
which makes sense. It's Saturday to Tuesday.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If you take the rest of the night off, you fly out Sunday, then you only got one day till the game.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping for is that they will, rotate, sub something, give some of the starters some rest. Then again,
Especially-
that depends on the plan for the CCL game.
Yeah. I mean, if they're not going to take Alianza super seriously like they would any other MLS team, then maybe sub some people out or rotate in those 2 games as opposed to the MLS games in between.
Yeah. That could be. So I don't know. It depends on
What do I?
what the plan is for
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to
Alianza.
prioritize.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to the game.
Yeah.
All right, Alianza. What do they look like?
Okay, so currently undefeated. They've played 8 games so far, so they're just about in mid-season of their
Okay.
league, and they've scored 11 goals in their 8 games so far, but 6 have come in the first 2. So recently they haven't been scoring a whole lot. That's 5 goals in 6 games. It's less than a goal a game, but they're not conceding like at all. They have 2 goals against so far, which is insane. They're not scoring a whole lot, but they don't concede. And the other factor, unfortunately for them, I guess, seem to still win, but uh, they have had 8 red cards shown in their 8 games. 5 against them, 3 against their opponents.
It sounds like they get people riled up. Either that or they're just short tempered and
it sounds
able
like
to get
they
them
rile
riled up.
themselves up.
Yeah.
And sometimes goad their opponents into taking that red card as well. Because when you have 5 against you and 3 against your opponent, you're on the short end of that stick.
Yes.
You know? So, I mean, they've had 5 men sent off, more men sent off than goals conceded. So, I don't know. Still undefeated, so I guess they're doing something right. But
Yeah. Where do they sit
second,
in their table?
they're second,
They're
1
second.
point behind. So
they're good.
yeah, no, they're very good. They're in the Champions League for a reason, right?
That's true. But they've managed to carry that over to this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Because sometimes the qualifications get a little weird.
Yeah.
Like you qualify and then the team falls apart.
Yeah. They've not dropped off yet.
That sounds like it's going to be a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
CCL games are crazy hostile.
Yeah.
To MLS teams on the road. So
I expect no different.
Yeah. So I would almost want the less experienced players playing tonight rather than Tuesday, and the more experienced players playing Tuesday.
Yeah, like I'd want players like Bedoya, not Martinez. Not Martinez.
No, because he'll get like 3 red cards.
Yeah, himself.
Just yeah.
Yeah. But I want players like Bedoya and Glesnes and Ua, people who are calming presences, who don't get riled up to play in El Salvador because they can handle the heat.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm hopeful that is, at least factored into Jim Curtin's plans.
Yes, me too. Hopefully.
That'll be good. Yeah, and if you thought Philly was a tough place to play on the road, watch some of these CCL games.
Yeah. And even outside the crowd, going from the practically middle of winter in Philly, February, very cold night, windy. Now you're going down to Miami. It's going to be hot-ish, right? Now you're going to El Salvador.
Yeah, even further
That's
south.
hot. Yeah. And now you're going back up to Philly. So
yes,
the weather changes. I'm interested to see how that affects the Union. Because you're going cold, windy, rainy to hot, little humid to practically the middle of the jungle.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the opposite will happen next week.
Yes.
When they come from their jungle to our when we don't have winter.
I haven't had one this year.
We're not having winter this year. Yeah. To our early spring weather.
So
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think CCL matches, again, they seem to be a lot more physical than MLS matches.
Yeah, they can be.
The referees tend to let stuff go a little bit more.
Yeah. So I wonder if Allianz is going to have a man sent off.
That would be rough if
It
they
would be.
did.
It would be. But they've had one in pretty much every other game so far this season.
That's true.
So,
yeah. So we'll see. So they're into their season. They should be into their flow. They should have all their rust knocked off.
yeah. It'll be their 9th or
10th
game. 10th, because they have a game tonight.
They're also playing tonight. Yeah.
Yes.
So it'll be their 10th game where it'll be the Union's third.
Yeah.
That's probably enough.
Yeah, I think by the third game, you're kind of just into the flow already.
Yeah.
And especially the return leg in Philly, you're definitely going to be in the flow because that'll be your 5th game.
Yeah.
You better be in the flow by then.
If not, it's going to be a long season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And by all means, they're already in their flow. Seeing that second half against Columbus.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm looking forward to it. I believe the CCL matches will be broadcast.
Yes, on Fox.
On Fox.
Yes,
okay.
FS1, FS2, and Fox Sports Network or something like that.
Okay, somewhere in the
Vancouver
Fox
game is somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, FS1 has the Philly game.
Okay. Somewhere in the Fox family of channels.
Yes.
Which I believe is owned by Disney.
Bro, maybe.
I think Disney bought the Fox assets that were not Fox News at one point.
I do not know.
Because Comcast was reportedly involved in those that bidding.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, well, I remember that because who do I work for? But I was not involved in any of that stuff. That was on the NBC Universal side. Yeah. So, no, I'm looking forward to the game.
Me too.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think both of them will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For their own way. We'll see if Jim Curtin is phoning in the CCL.
Yeah, or taking a backseat for the league for the CCL. He could say, well, Sounders won it last year. Let's win it this year.
Yeah. And that could be the priority. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I think the priority is let's win all 5, but
well, yes,
but it's not realistic.
I think other than that, it's MLS Cup.
Yeah.
Then the Shield.
Probably. MLS Cup seems more important.
Yeah.
And the League's Cup is who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that?
Yeah. So, and U.S. Open Cup, that happens all the time. So I think if one of them, the first one to give will be the U.S. Open Cup.
Yes. If they're not already out of the Champions League.
Right. Well, obviously, you get eliminated from one early. Yeah. That one is the one that goes.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully, it's not MLS Cup that you're eliminated from early. That would be terrible.
That would be terrible. Yeah. Especially with all the teams that are going to go to the playoffs. 9 teams each side. Yeah. I still think that's a lot.
It's still too many, but we've already covered that.
Yeah. So, let's see. What do you think? You think that this schedule is going to beat up the Union a little too much? I saw a report on the internet that said, and the easy part of the season is over after week 1.
Yeah, I do agree with that statement that the easy part is over. But I think the Union, they were in a few competitions last year. Not nearly as many as this year. They've added depth, proven depth. Your kids have gotten a year older, a year more experienced, brought in a little more people. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. You're not going to be able to compete with everything.
Right.
I think you can compete for at most 3 competitions.
That's a stretch. That's hard.
And if it's the Shield, that's probably going to bring it down to 2.
Well, if you're competing for the Shield, that's also competing for MLS Cup.
Kinda, but also not really, especially the later into the season you get, right? Like if you are maybe a few points off the Shield, like let's say if LAFC is leading the Shield race again, and they're like 3 or 4 points ahead of the Union, but the Union is like 4 or 5, 6 points ahead of the rest of the East, right? You probably
Yeah.
rotate a little more. Don't let your starters get injured towards that last few games going into decision day.
Yeah, because at that point, chasing the Shield, that's a big ask.
Yes.
You get
But
that late.
even if it's 1 point and you go, well, Shield's not entirely important. Like
Right.
we don't want Gazdag or Martinez or Blake, Elliott, Lesnes. We don't want them injured or suspended going into the playoffs. Like
Right, of course.
when we already have home field advantage up till MLS Cup. We
I
don't
think first
need to
in the
risk
East
anymore.
Yeah, I think first in the East is more important than the Shield.
Yeah.
To chase MLS Cup, for sure. Yeah, first in the East is definitely more important. But if you're chasing first in the East and, the teams out West just are behind you, maybe they're, they're top 2 or 3rd and 4th in the Shield race, then obviously you're chasing it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, it depends how the season shapes up.
Yeah. We're 1 week in.
Yeah. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't even know if the Union are going to be all that competitive in the Champions League or Leagues Cup or Open Cup, how much they're going to care. They might not.
Yeah. The Leagues Cup's going to be interesting.
Yeah, especially for the first year.
Yeah.
Because the leagues stop. They just are on pause.
Right.
For that period of time. So you could look at, if you have a whole bunch of injuries, look at, well, let's crash out, heal up, get ready for when the league starts up again.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a viable strategy for some teams. I'm sure at least one team's going to do that.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know what league they're going to be from, but I'm sure at least one of them will. Some team will. They'll be a little beat up and they'll be like, yeah, you people who have never played, go.
Yeah.
Oh, you lost. Good job.
Yeah, you still played.
We get to go home and heal up.
Recover.
Yes.
Take a breather.
And if you win, great.
Yeah.
Keep playing. Yeah. Anyway, no, that's good. I think we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, me too.
Are you interested in watching the early game? I don't even know who it is off the top of my head.
Nor do I.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
But we could talk about that after we're done.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on watching the early game, because it seems like the national broadcast game will be 4:30 Eastern.
Okay, so
every week.
Soon.
Yeah, soon.
Yeah.
So I was asking because, it's the one game that's on at 4:30.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, are you going to watch Monday Night Football this week?
Well, sure.
Most of the time the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, not really.
All right. You want to give us a cowardly anonymous quote with
no.
your face and name on YouTube?
I don't think I have any cowardly anonymous quotes.
That was a joke because you're not very anonymous here.
Well, it's true.
All right. Tune in next week for more Philadelphia Union coverage. We'll have 2 game recaps and 2 game previews. It's going to be a busy week. Anyway, Thanks for watching and listening to the South Jersey Soccer Cast. If you are on YouTube, please leave some comments to let us know how we are doing. Then like and subscribe to get notified when we upload next week's episode.